Hi there. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to be quickly going through basic factorization. All right, and in this factorization, it's just going to be some basic factorization. Okay, you can follow my next page on Instagram, Russell and Mathematics. This is my email address, and you can send emails if you want to inquire about tutoring or math help or anything else related. All right. And if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to this video because I'm going to be posting a lot more math related content. And you can click on the notification to get notifications every time I put up a video. Okay, so let's quickly get into it. Now, we're going to be learning how to factorize by checking out the highest common factor. Okay, what better way to do this than to look at an example? All right, so this is example one, where we have to factorize the following expressions, something like this. Okay, 15x squared plus 9x to the power 5. Now, what you're going to have to ask yourself is between 15 and 9, what is the biggest number that we can divide into both without leaving a remainder? Okay, so that number is 3. Okay, so we're gonna put 3 outside the brackets. Okay, so between x squared and x5, same variables, so that means there's a common factor there. We're gonna take the variable that has got a smaller exponent. So between x2 and x5, x2 is the smaller exponent, so that is our highest common factor. Okay, so the highest common factor between 15x squared and 9x to the power of 5 is just 3x to the power of 2. Okay, now we're going to open a bracket, right? So use a bracket, and then you're going to say, okay, how many times can 3 go into 15? That is 5. Okay, and x squared divided by x squared, they kind of cancel each other out, so there's nothing to write there. And then put a plus sign because there's a plus sign there. And then we ask now, how many times can 3 go into 9? And that is 3 times. Okay, so we write 3. And then x to the power 5 divided by x to the power of 2. So remember, you subtract the exponents when dividing. So it becomes x to the power of 5 minus 2, which is 3. Okay, and then it's factorized. All right, so when you ask to factorize, this is basically what you are doing. Okay, now let's look at another example where we have to factorize the following expression. Okay, and now we've got this. So we got two variables now. Okay, so it's the same procedure. You ask what is the common factor between 15 and 3. Okay, so that common factor is 3 because 3 can divide into both. Okay, between a to the power 4 and a. Remember, if there's no exponent, it means the exponent is 1. We don't write the 1. So the common factor between a4 and a is a. The common factor between b to the power of 6 and b to the power of 2 is this one, b to the power of 2. Okay, so you write it like that. Alright, now you then open the brackets and say, okay, how many times can 3 go into 15? Well, that is 5 times, so you're going to write 5. Okay, a to the power of 4 divided by a to the power of 1, so that is a minus those two exponents, so that is a to the power of 3, b to the power of 6 divided by b to the power of 2, so that's b to the power of 6 minus 2, which is 4. Okay, there's a minus sign there, so we're going to put a minus sign here. Alright, and 3 divided by 3, well, it divides itself. A divided by a, it divides itself. B squared divided by b squared. Oh, so everything and everything is dividing each other, and there is nothing left, so that means we put a 1 here. Okay, and then that is how we have factorized that expression. All right, now let's look at another example where we have to factorize this expression. Okay, now when we've got something like this, what we now must understand is the fact that this x plus y there is a factor of this whole term, so that means you're multiplying 2 by a by x plus y. So this is a factor. Now I've underlined this because it looks exactly the same as that one over there. So this factor is there, that factor is there, so that means that is a common factor. Okay, so now if it's a common factor, this is how we're going to do our factorization. We're going to say this is the common factor, x plus y. Okay, so that's x plus y outside the bracket. Okay, and then open the bracket. Now if you take this and divide into this whole term here, you're left with 2a because these two are going to divide each other. Okay, so that is 2a minus, take this x plus y, divide into this whole term. So these two are going to divide each other, and that means you're going to be left with 3b. Okay, so that is how this one is factorized. Okay, now this is a rule that we need to just remember, what we call the sign change rule. Okay, like the sign change rule, let's look at some examples then. Something like this, 3b minus 2a. If it was 3b plus 2a, it's simple. We could just write it the other way around. And now when there's a negative sign, can you actually say 2a minus 3b? Well, you can't really just do that. Okay, so in order for you to write this the other way around with the minus sign inside, that means there should be inside a bracket, it should be a negative sign outside the bracket. Okay, so whenever you're writing something that's subtracting each other and you write it the other way around, you need to have a negative sign outside. Okay, now if we've got something like this, if we put a negative sign outside the bracket, okay, what it means is that each of these signs is going to change. So this one was a negative 4y, but because there's a negative outside, it becomes a positive 4y. Okay, and because there's a negative outside, this positive changes into a negative, and then that is 7x. Okay, so that is how we are going to change the signs when it looks like that. Now when you put expression like this one, they're both negatives, so it's the same thing. Put a negative outside. This negative 5b then is now written as a positive 5b. This negative sign is now written as a positive, and this 2a like that. Okay, so when you put a negative outside and both are negatives, they end up adding inside. Okay, it's actually the same thing here if you look at it, because this negative 2a has changed into a positive, and this positive 3b has changed into a negative because there's a minus sign outside the bracket. So that is how the sign rule works. Now we're going to do an example like this. So we have to factorize this expression here. Okay, now this expression currently as it is, it's not factorizable because of the following thing. Because if we look at this, this is 3x minus 2y, that is 2y minus 3x. So this is not the same, so we can't really factorize that. But we learned about the sign change rule, so we're going to implement that sign change rule. So we're going to rewrite it as follows. Okay, so let's just write this as it is, 2a by 3x minus 2y. Okay, but now this one we're going to change signs, so I'm just going to put a square bracket so that we know that it's different from the inside bracket. Okay, so we're going to put a negative outside, so it's going to be 5b times the negative of, okay, remember we said if we put a negative outside, this changes direction, so this becomes 3a minus 2y. Okay, now what we know from our normal algebra, if you're adding something that's a negative, you end up with a negative sign in here. Okay, so that's going to be 2a by 3x minus 2y. Okay, maybe let's just quickly rewrite it like this before we implement our sign change, because this obviously means this whole thing now is a negative, so it's 5b by 3x minus 2y. Okay, and if you plus a negative, you end up subtracting, so that means we now have 2a plus 3x minus 2y. Okay, so that plus a negative, so that's now a minus 5b by 3x minus 2y. You can see this is now a common factor, and then we now take out the common factor here. Okay, so this is now 3x minus 2y outside the first bracket, and if I take this and divide into this whole term, you're going to have 2a there, and if I take this and divide into this whole term, oh, there's a negative here, and divide into this whole term, we're going to have 5b. Okay, and that one is fully factorized. Maybe let's do another example like this one here. Okay, so we're gonna apply our sign change rule to this term also. So it's gonna look something like this. So we're gonna have 3a, okay, by 5x plus y. So we're gonna minus. Remember, in our sign change rule, we take out the negative here. Then we have 5x. Let's change the sign to the positive. Then change the sign, so it becomes 5x plus y. Right, so when you minus a negative, we all know that you end up adding. So it becomes 3a by 5x plus y. Okay, then you're going to plus this 5x plus y. Okay, now as you can see, this and that is common factors. So you can factorize the 5x plus y outside. Then open a bracket. This 5x plus y divided into this whole term. You left with 3a. So there's 3a. The plus there because of that plus. 5x plus y is divided by 5x plus y. It's just the same thing dividing itself. So that means it is a 1. Okay. And then there we go. So it's fully factorized. So as I said before, that's my Instagram handle. And then that's my email address, rasamokondo@gmail.com. And if you found this video to be very helpful, then please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the notifications. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.